Hello, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, all of you strange people that grew up knowing what an avocado was. I'm alone in Finland, this is EVE Online, and today we're going to be talking about what I personally think is the most toxic behaviour that you can get within the game. Now, a lot of people have mentioned, especially in the last video, that there is quite a toxic environment around about EVE. And my argument is that that is not untrue, but it's also just, if you have an online game, it gets more toxic. You will get communities members, you will get people like that that are particularly aggressive. And something that happened to EVE when it went more sort of free to play, when the alpha came in, then you did have a group, that sort of toxic group, move in, because before that, with that sort of barrier to payment, that subscription payment, to be perfectly honest, in my opinion, you had less toxicity because you had people that were paying for it, people that had that disposable income. Especially sort of 20 years ago, it was a little bit of a different online environment. Now, it's there. I've mentioned it before. If you go onto, for instance, you can conduct this experiment yourself. Go onto the EVE Online forums and put a suggestion out about changing something in the game or adding something to the game, and watch the response you get. It is 50% toxicity, and in quite a severe way. And in my opinion, that forum needs more moderators and people that actually pay attention to what the hell they're doing. Because at the moment it seems to be sort of the Wild West, and although there are rules, they are not followed. However, this is an in-game behaviour I'm talking about, and to display it, I'm just going to take my little miner and I'm going to throw him out into an ice belt. So this is the 9 system. The general sort of habitat around about here, if I sort of bring it up on the stargates, you can see that we've got 2 low-sec systems, we've got a route back into high-sec, with a few jumps out from heck, and in the local area we have some peoples. In case you're wondering, I don't usually use this particular screen for this particular account. That's why everything's very basic today. So, for instance, if I was to go here, not singling out any particular person or particular corporation, even though they may be all banded in red, or any particular alliance or anything like that. This is just a general thing, honestly, just a general thing. Not a particular group, but this does happen all around EVE, and in this particular area we have a particular thing, and as you can see we already have Concord here because of what happened a little while ago. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to target something, and as you can see here we've got a whole load of people, and my colour tags are sort of messed up on this screen, but all I'm going to do is head towards a rock and start mining it. Now, as you can see here, we've got a couple of orcas. This is not... Now, I know these people, and there is about 2 to 3 people online at the moment. The vast majority of this is all alts of one particular person. There are some of the accounts that were on before, but you can tell this, and the reason I know this is because I see when they log on, I see when they log off, and it's everybody at the same time. So you will see 15 accounts log in. This particular one, I think it was, I'm not sure. One of them was actually one of the other alts, because there's a sort of darker side to this group, because they look like a mining group, and they are a mining group, and they spend a lot of time mining ice in this particular system. But the other side of it is they also have a lot of alts. So these miners are also the gankers. So if you come in and you do something that they don't like, they will go for you and they will try and pop you. And it's sort of happened to me in the past. It's been a bit of a laugh because they're not particularly good at it. I'm assuming that this is a situation of all the gear and no idea, to quote the British Army. Which is that they've got a lot of accounts, they're skilling up accounts, but at the same time they don't quite know how to play the game. And one of the things that will happen is, as you are just sort of running through, if you decide to start mining their stuff, they will bring out another person, another one of the alts who's built into a bumper ship, and they will originally just try and bump you off the ice, unless you are a small ship, in which case they'll bring in one of the Gankers and just try and pop you with a single frigate or a two frigate. Going so far as to pop Ventures, which, in my opinion, I think the bumping is a scummy behaviour, because it's not really something you can fight against. And it would be particularly good for CCP to put a module in that could lock you in place, so that if you are mining, you cannot be bumped. I think that would be something that would be useful, something that you could deliberately activate. Not something that could cause you too many problems, that's got like a time isolation maybe, but something that would stop this sort of trolling behaviour. However, the situation around this is essentially, if you jump in and you start mining what they see as theirs, they'll try and bump you off, or if you're smaller, they will try and pop you. And in some cases, they will bring quite a chunk to bear against other people. So much so that even with my sort of miners on this account that are fairly robust, they're not built for purebred mining, and I'm not using fancy stuff on them.
One eternity later.
I have just had the almightiest of mind farts, because I've just been looking for the ship in the station that I'm actually flying. So that's my brain today. But yeah, so as you can see here, with the active sort of defence, I've got about 67k in this ice miner. It's not particularly good, but it's not a weak ship. It'll take a little bit to pop. However, I'd still move out of the way for these guys, because this is a general thing. They have a habit of doing it. And I am paying attention to exactly who's coming into the system. Because I am expecting a little bit in a second where one of the guys comes in. So let's just give it a break and wait for the particular guy, because he was online a minute ago. He may have just popped out of the system for something, if they are using him as some sort of transport alt. But we shall see.
Soon after.
And here we go. So we have the particular one here. Now, another part of this, and it's the reason that they are blocked in local, is the fact that this is one person, and they constantly try and pretend that they are multiple people, so talking and engaging. But as they are coming back into the system, as you can see here, we have this particular gentleman who is also in a completely separate alliance, but it is the same group, the same person. They actually all logged on at exactly the same time. Oh, and as you can see here, we have a Loki. That's an interesting way to go. I'm just going to wait and see what's going on, because normally their standard is to bring in a mechanical. As you can see here, they are targeting me in a Loki. As well, if they want to gank me in a Loki, that's perfectly fine. While they are doing this, I am just going to bring on my other ult and get ready to scoop some loot, just in case. As I said, they are not the smartest, so we'll see what happens. The reason that I say that they are not the smartest is because on more than one occasion they have killed ships that I'm in where it makes no sense. For instance, I had a completely unarmed catalyst, and they popped the thing sort of losing money against a ship that was unarmed and no threat, which just was fantastic. And there you go, it looks like they're going in for the bump. But they are using a ship that is so weak that it can't knock me off the 10-kilometer range. So I imagine it'll be a second before they reship. But this is a constant thing out here. This is what gets me, is you've got somebody who is happily mining, but then if somebody's going to take 40 units of what they want to mine, then they'll come in and just start trolling them and being toxic as shit. I think this is mental. And I think this is particularly mental, the fact that you have an alliance that's out there that is the miners, but is also the gankers. To me, it just seems weird. But they are one jump away from low sec, so while I don't normally support ganking and stuff like this, and I do think that it should be leveled, I don't think it shouldn't exist, because it is a good thing in general. As people have pointed out, that the sort of combat situations in the game do drive a lot of things. I think there should be better defences, because if this was such a big problem, then there would be better defences. That's the evolution of what sort of comes in it. But at the same time, every time I've been ganked, I've never really had... I've been annoyed, obviously, as it's happened, but I've never really had an issue with the entire thing. Because every time I've been ganked, it's been me not being paying attention to what I'm doing. There are safe ways to do it, and you take your risks, you roll your dice, and you see what happens. In fact, the only time that I've ever been royally pissed off about it is actually when they changed the rules so that nullsec came into highsec rules, one of the combat phases, and I was bopping along through lowsec. I had specifically avoided null because of where I was going and what I was doing, and I got caught in a bubble, and that royally fucked me off, because it was a case of somebody went, well, why don't you read the patch notes? Like, because I want to play the fucking game. I've just come back after a 2-year break. I'm not going to sit down for 4 hours and go through every fucking change in the game. That's something that, when you change the core gameplay, it royally pisses me off. And it's not just me. They have lost thousands of players to this, because it happened in Poshvin. It happened when they did the high sec to null sec stuff. In fact, as I mentioned in the comments in the last video, one of the few times where they made a change and then decided that was a bad idea was, or talked about the change, was when they were going to do it to null sec, and all the null kittens complained, and they were like, no, we don't like this. Here you go. And he's fucked it again. Oh my god, they are so crap at this. He does do it. He will get the angle eventually. But it is just so... It's toxic. It's tragic. I just don't understand it. He's going to get us this time. Bunk. And he's bollocksed it again. Yeah, but this is what I wanted to show, because if you've got something like this, then just move systems. And I am going to move system because of these guys. But I wanted to highlight this as one of the more toxic sort of things that can happen. It's alright, I've just gotten the main loot, the main run. But yeah, just beware of this, because it's also, for people that have been in the game longer, you'll know that bumping has been used to get ships out of different things. Maybe it's away from a station so you can't dock, away from a gate so you can't jump. It has a use, and there are reasons for it, and there are reasons that it's not been taken out of the game. If you are trying to sort of warp into a station bubble, or a post bubble, and push something out of the shield, please note that that is an exploit and you can get banned for it. Also, on the subject of exploits, remember that trolling new players is something where you are taking your game in your hands to do it. If you are in the new systems, or the spawning systems for beginning players, because I saw this the other day, you can't be going in and ganking them because you'll get banned. If they complain, that is. However, if it is just a newer member as well, then this can be sort of, it can get you into trouble. So beware of that in general. And while normally I wouldn't sort of support ganking anybody, these guys are both gankers and miners. So I would question as to whether they have paid their mining licenses to people's. But yeah, I wouldn't incentivize that. I don't think you should go after these people if you are a ganker, especially because they are in 9 and just one jump away from null. But yeah, I've not come across this situation before in the game, so I wanted to show it, because it is this weird situation where all of the weirdness is kind of overloading my brain. You've got somebody who's multiboxing, who's blatantly pretending to be other people, and when I was sort of engaging with them, it was constant, like, oh no, this is one person, this is only one person. You're like, How are you still trying to do this? I can see when you log on. I can see when you log off. And by the way, this person is not cheating or botting or anywhere that way. They are specifically multiboxing, because I had a look at something that looked suspect earlier. But you can see that they are all starting a cycle separately or anything like that. So don't be reporting anybody, because that'll get you in trouble, making false reports as opposed to somebody legitimately playing the game. But at the same time, the other things that I find weird are the fact that this same guy who's running however many accounts, there is, I can't exactly remember, but there was 2 online for like the last 3 hours before all of these guys logged in, which was about sort of about 20 minutes ago or so. And this is why I sort of shifted it onto my main computer so that I can record all this and show you what's going on. But yeah, so it's just like one guy who's got all of these accounts, who's also got Ganking accounts, who's also like pretending to be multiple people, and then just being as petty as you can fucking get, bumping other miners off or popping other miners where they can. I don't understand it. I really don't. It baffles me. It really does. So yeah, that's just what I wanted to show. I'm gonna get back to it. I'm gonna make another video, I think probably toward the weekend, about the new ships that are coming out in the new expansion, because I am genuinely excited for them. And for those of you that sort of wonder, like, I will criticize the game where I think it needs critiquing, and I will promote it where I think it's brilliant. And the new ships coming out and stuff like that, when new shinies come out and sort of interesting changes to gameplay, I will be more than happy about that. When they did a big rework of the faction warfare system, I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was really well done, although they did it sort of kind of before I was doing the proper videos and stuff like this. But I truly love the game. This is the thing that people seem to miss about criticism, is that you pay more attention to something when you are more invested in it. So you will see the good and the bad. It's not the sort of weird, I don't know, like fanboy obsessions you get, that where people are sat going, this is the newest shiny thing, everything about it is amazing, and there is nothing bad about it. That's lust, not love. Remember that. If you're a young person, please remember that as you get older. There are very specific differences between lust and love in any circumstance, whether it's a partner, a game, a really good motorbike. God damn, I miss my motorbike. But those things are different, and a lot of that, what you see fanboying about things that are new and shiny, that's a different situation. So this is where my sort of critiques, my comments, and stuff like that comes from. And this new battle cruiser that is coming out looks shiny as hell. I am also very interested in the new mining ships, because that sort of destroyer size mining ship is something that I've specifically asked for. Oh, and while I'm on that, somebody mentioned this before and they said, why are you shouting about this? Why are you complaining about this? It's like, well, first off, I'm Scottish. This is how I engage with the world. But secondly, it's because when you put your suggestions out there, when you put your critiques out there, things can get changed. For instance, if you go back through my catalogue of videos, at one point I was talking about new industrials, and less than a year later the new update had new industrials in it. I mentioned in one of my other videos about the fact of having an intermediate mining ship. And look, we're getting an intermediate mining ship. Now, I'm not saying that that is my idea that they took and run with. I don't think it is. But I do think enough people talking about these things puts it out there. Not just me, you as well. If you are watching, your comments are read. And I know this for a fact. Aside from the fact that the devs have said that they do this, when I have been on Twitch watching the CCP streams, I have had engagement with some of the guys on there who have actually paid attention to different things and mentioned about people's comments. So that is something that, if you don't think anybody's listening, in some cases they might not be. If it's EA games, guaranteed they fucking aren't. And even if somebody is, they would never dare speak that to the voices above. But CCP isn't that. CCP isn't a couple of thousand employees owned by an investment bank that is running it into the ground. CCP is a small gaming company. Well, average size probably, at 100 and something employees. But they are a group of people who are doing what they think is best and trying to do it. And now, me disagreeing with what they think is best is perfectly fine. Because if they see my criticism and disagree with me, fantastic. If they sort of genuinely disagree that my opinion, if they think my opinion is wrong, then that would be perfectly fine. Because that's what makes the world better. Discussing things, agreeing with things, disagreeing with things, that's perfectly acceptable. But if I don't say it and they don't think it, if YouTube doesn't do any of this, or worse, and part of the reason I started the channel, if you've got a whole load of YouTubers that are just blowing smoke up the arse of the devs without any criticism whatsoever, then there's your problem. Because if they don't think anything is ever bad, then how do they correct their stuff? Just in general, us as a culture, we should talk, we should engage. And I'm Scottish, so the way that I talk is more aggressive. So that's where we are at the moment. Let's have a look. How far has he managed to bump me off? Jesus. 62. Well, I'm impressed that he hasn't actually brought any of the alts in to do the popping in this. Because the alts that are in the popping in this are usually in different corps. Sort of more sneaky. Oh, he's done some popping in this. He didn't have a negative stat a couple of days ago. But yeah, so there be that. Thanks for watching. This has been a weird... I was going to say short one, but obviously it's me, so it's never a fucking short one. But as per usual, down in the doobly-doo, you have the stuff if you want to get cheaper stuff for Eve, if you're looking for Plex, if you're looking for game time, or some of the weird skins and deals that are going on at the moment. You've got Marquee Dragon. There are the links there. You get a discount if you use my link. You also, if you just happen to be ordering from something from them or somebody else that is doing it in dollars and you're in Europe or Australia, because of the way that it sort of works, you will get a discount on your thing. Somebody pointed out that it was like 20 something percent. I had worked out as 17%, but I think the exchange rate changed around. But you can get a significant amount, and there is some discounts and deals going on at the moment. I believe if I just check in the NES, at this moment in time, there is reductions on multiple pilot training. There you go. Reductions in Omega. So if you were to buy your Plex and then convert it, you would get a discount on that, and then you would get a secondary discount on your Omega. So it's a way to sort of make these things a little bit cheaper. And on top of that, there is also the weird sponsorship for EVE Online, where you can get 1 million free skill points. If you are opening up that stuff, please use my little link. It gives me a small kickback. And if you are actually doing this when you have multiple accounts, link them off your own accounts, because you'll be able to give yourself stuff if you're buying Plex and stuff like that from CCP. However, the reason I'm asking is because I think I'm like 15 away from getting one of the what do you call it? One of these. I've forgotten the name of it. The Marshall. I'm 15 away from getting the Marshall from Concord, so that's why I'm asking. But yeah, with all that said, comments and questions and stuff like that. If you've seen any other toxic behaviours that are sort of within the game and the game rules, then feel free, put them down. I'm always curious about other people's opinions. I like the engagement and stuff like that. And to all the new people that have subscribed most recently, thank you very much. There's sort of, I think there's 16 of you that have come in the last... Oh no, there's 31 of you that have come in the last 20-something days. Which probably means some of you have unsubscribed, so see you later. I can understand. That's fair play. If you like it, subscribe and all that jazz. If you don't, But comments are the things that I enjoy more than most. So, thanks for your time. I'll speak to you later. Oh, by the way, I will always rant off topic in every video. Because I'm ADHD, I'm Scottish, and it's my video. Bye!
Flashback. End of flashback.